Alright, can you guys hear it now? Can you guys hear me? Cool, everything seems to be working on my end. Okay, good. Okay, I'm glad y'all pointed out. I don't know how that keeps happening though, 'cause I didn't change any settings on my speaker, so I don't know if it cut out. But oh well, alright, that's good. So I guess I'll start from what I was saying from early in the beginning. So today, guys, I'm actually be drawing Daffy from one of the more classic cartoons, The Great Pig Bank Robbery. I was initially gonna draw something from how he looked from the new movie, but one, I wasn't sure which scene I wanted to do, but also I don't want to spoil too much of anything from the movie, especially for those of you who haven't seen it. Which, by the way, I recommend you guys go see that movie if you haven't seen it already. It was really good. I found it really enjoyable. And funny enough, like I mentioned earlier, is that it was the first for me for a lot of things. One is the first like traditionally animated movie I've seen. Like in years, like at least in in theaters. But also, that was the first like Looney Tunes movie I've seen. Well, actually, the market as being the first, like fully animated Looney Tunes feature that's in theaters. And I thought to myself, really, is it the first? But then I remember that a lot of the really old ones that came out years ago, like back in I think in like the 70s and 80s. I mean, a lot of those were mainly just like compilation movies, where those are basically just compilations of old Looney Tunes shorts with maybe some new like animation put around it. Whereas this new one, this is actually a full like animated like story. I will mention this though. So it only does feature like three main Looney Tunes. It features Porky, Daffy, and Porky's girl Petunia. And I will mention it doesn't really feature too. I think there's a few cameos from a couple other like minor Looney Tunes characters, but not by much. I'm not gonna say who exactly. I think I figured maybe I'll probably say it for maybe a future stream, after it's been out for a little while. But I actually do like that they don't like get in the habit of trying to like force like every single Looney Tunes character that's in there, because this one, the story they want to tell, it's a little more centralized, and they wanted to be more of a character driven story, just between like those three characters. So I'm glad they actually went with that direction. But yeah, music was nice, animation was really good, especially considering this was on a smaller budget. Because I hear that the movie the movie like I looked on the movie cost like I think only like it's like $15 million budget, which isn't that which is surprisingly cheap nowadays, like for a movie with a pretty wide release. Let me get the base of his body here. And one cool thing about it with this particular short, but also even the movie as well, and like I really love how Daffy, I think he got the most laughs from me, is that they kind of model him more after how he is in the early Clampett shorts, because those aren't doing with Daffy Duck, at least with a lot of his cartoons. They're kind of like two eras of Daffy, because you got the early like Clampett era or Daffy Duck where he's actually more loony and chaotic. Then you got the Chuck Jones one where he's actually a little more refined, where he's a little more egocentric, he's a lot more scheming compared compared to where Bugs is. And but personally, I kind of like older Daffy a little bit more, where he's kind of more an unpredictable like bird of chaos. So let's get his little hat. And it probably wasn't that many people there when we went to go see it. I think it was in all there was probably like 7 people there. And granted, I figure like since it's kind of like a small, since being on a smaller budget, has somewhat a smaller release. I figured that, hey, that's why I didn't have as many people there. Because I think I call give me just a moment. Hang on. It's already like premiered at a couple of like animation like festivals by prior beforehand, but yesterday was the day it finally first came out. Like for a wide release. All right, let's get his arms over at it. Let me get his trigger hand here. And here's I decided to go the whole pig robbery. It's probably one of my favorite. Probably one of the first well, I consider one of the first like Daffy characters I remember seeing. I think definitely is probably his most iconic. I mean, there's a reason why I have at this particular. It's I think Jerry Becker ranked as par as one of like 50 best like golden age cartoons of all time, and for good reason too. Everything about it, look, Daffy's got the best jokes. The whole thing goes at a really great pace. It's got some really iconic imagery. Let me see how I get this gun. See how I'm gonna get this gun to look. Give me just one moment. Let me bring this down a bit more. Yeah, I know his arms kind of weird. But even in the original cartoons, especially in a lot of Clampett cartoons, like a lot of times they aren't too focused on making sure the proportions are right because they make them really rubbery, and especially in those cartoons where they have them bending them all these different angles. I think this is probably my favorite one by him, like Piggy Robber. I think right back there probably book review where he's Danny Boy. That one's really good. In fact, I almost ended up doing that one. Since I figured that one probably a little bit more colorful. Let me get the end of his weapon of choice here. Yeah, and plus also with this new Looney Tunes, it's probably the first time in years they actually had at least aside from probably the new Looney Tunes shows where they've done a lot more pair. Actually, I take that back. I was gonna say I think it's the first time in years they've had him pair with Porky and Daffy. But then I remember I think the new HBO shorts and even some of the ones from the new Looney Tunes show did have some pair ups with Porky. But I do like with this newer one, they have them paired up where like it's not just Porky's at the end. It's not the butt of the joke where both of them are actually getting some pretty good like laughs in, and both of them are actually like taking charge in their own right. So I really enjoyed that. All right, let me see. Let me bring his legs out just a bit more. And I didn't. Let me see. What else am I missing? I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm. Trying to make sure there's nothing else I'm missing before I'd go any further. Let me see. Alright, so in that case, I think what I can go ahead and do now, I'll go straight in with our ink pen. And the movie I went to go see, I went to go see it, at movie theater, like movie theater, probably about, I'd say it was probably about maybe about 15 minutes away from my day job. Because also surprisingly, like I was a couple of movie theaters in the area that were playing it, but the one I went to, it was the only one that was open for late because I had gotten off work late. I think I got off probably around I think 6:15, and I was able to catch a showing they had at 7:10. It was great because a lot of the other places, because there was one where at a nice movie theater I wanted to go to. It was a little bit further away, but their last showing was like right at 6:15, so I knew I wasn't gonna be able to make that. Then there was another one which was kind of out in that area. That's usually pretty nice. I wanted to go to that one. They had their last showings at 3:45. So this one kind of worked out because it was one of the few where it was actually a later showing where I could go see it. And surprisingly, even though it was a Warner Brothers movie, like it wasn't that crowded. I think there was only in all there was probably like seven. There was like 6, 7 other people that were there when I went to go see it. Now, granted, on one, I figure since it's a family film, I figure it's not gonna have a big crowd to begin with. Because as much as I know that the whole thing has been kind of trending on social media, and for good reason, I do have to remember there's probably a lot of folks who aren't really on social media and probably haven't really heard about it until like just very recently, especially at least now that it's out. I honestly hope the movie does really well. Not that it's just a great movie, but also just for traditional land movies for traditional land movies in general, because this is the first time in years we've had like a traditionally animated like film like on the big screen like this. I mean, unless you want to count Space Jam, the new sequel, even though that was basically more live action mixed with some animation. And I still haven't gotten around to seeing the new one just yet. I've heard it's okay. I keep hearing that it's okay. It is mainly flex. So I heard the new Space Jam just kind of flexes on. Does a lot more flexing, with ours like stuff that Warner Bros. And HBO has now. So it's basically kind of like building up on kind of doing a lot more of what people criticized the first Space Jam were doing, which was being just one big like commercial. his little hands here. A little bit probably look at how real Tommy looks like before I go any further, because I know as of right now, it probably look at his actor's original cartoon looks may not be actually what real life one looks. I was thinking about when I color this in, I might go for a more, I might go for like a color scheme similar to how some of these old like comic books from Golden Age probably look like. But add these really bold like simple colors, kind of like those Dick Tracy cartoons, which is what the comics this particular crime was based on, were those old cartoons which were out at the time and were very popular like, when this cartoon was made. And what's been cool is that even before the movie came out, I've been also been kind of watching a lot of different little artists and animators that have actually worked on the movie, and they've been pretty much kind of getting updates, as far as like what they've been doing on the movie. Now, of course, they didn't play any actual footage from the movie because, of course, I think it's probably kind of like an NDA that's saying that they can't really show anything from the movie, especially before it's out. Because I know earlier yesterday, I've been seeing a lot of people who actually work at kind of posting some of the work they previously did. Since now that it's out, they can actually do that now. I'm just kind of thickening up the edges here for our outlines. Now, let me see. Okay, okay. Let's cut it inside of his mouth while we're at it. Because the other thing, I am planning on doing all this in colored pencil too. But also, since while we're at it, so before I do come in, let me just kind of color in, like Daffy itself here. And you can see I'm kind of cheating here with his arms here, since I kind of bent around with that angle. But if you were to pause like any like old Clampett cartoons from the area from these Looney Tunes characters, they're always bending in really like bizarro angles in ways that humans can't do. But that was the thing about him, like Clampett's cartoons. Like he was really big on kind of really pushing Looney Tunes character, but also like really have his animators pushing all these really wild and exaggerated poses. And as far as I know, like he's really one of the few to really like do that, especially so early on. Because after he left, because for those that know Clampett, he left because he was pretty much there from the very beginning. Because he got started with them back in like the early 30s, and he was with them until around like 45. And like 45, that's when he ended up leaving to go off and do his own thing with being Cecil, with his own little puppetry. Because I think now I think about, I think 1946. Now I remember. I think yeah, 46 is when he left, and that I think was probably one of the last like really great ones he did like before he left. And really, he was the guy who really kind of helped kind of nail down like Daffy's personality. Yeah, I kind of wish he did stick around for him with him a little longer because he was really doing some good stuff. There's a reason now canceled animator John Kay. There's a reason he's celebrating so much because he had such a great way of just really taking cartoons that were already fun and eye popping, and just taking them to the next level. Yeah, Bob Clemens really had a knack for doing it, but also he surrounded some really good animators helping do that too. Because I think some of the regulars he had was first there was there was Rod, I think it was Rod McKimson. He often did the very did more character driven animation that was usually very solid. Then you had Virgil Ross. His stuff was really good. It came to like really sharp timing and gags. And then you had the really wild ones like Manny Gold, who had some of these really exaggerated poses, and Rod Scribner. Now his stuff was really out there because he always gave the characters like really big eyes, really distinct teeth. Yeah, he was a yeah his work, especially in the Clampett, was really out there. And I think if you go a couple of blogs out there that kind of break down animation, different animes, you'll probably see his work was really unhinged and out there. Under like Clampett Avery's direction. And it was kind of a shame, was, after Clampett, had left, Scribner, he still worked with Warner Bros. I think even well into the '60s, but his work was never really as unhinged because by the time other directors kind of came and started doing their own thing, what they start doing now, they start toning down a lot more the a lot of the wilder animation, made it a little more restrained. So it's why if you try to look for his work in a lot of his later stuff, it's a little hard to pick out because the stuff is a lot more restrained compared to how it is in these Clampett cartoons. Okay, I think I'm gonna start adding some color to this now, so give me just one moment. Hang on, hang on. Alright, here we go. So, I think of what I am going to do. I think I'm just going to start with a little bit of yellow. Get yellow here and there. Because I'm working with a smaller set of colored pencils on hand. Because I want to use like a more limited palette. This small palette doesn't have an orange for some reason, so I'm going to work with what I got. Alright, so what was the other thing I was going to mention about yeah, but apparently after he after Bob Clamp did a lot of stuff with Warner Bros. He ended kind of going in on the whole like puppetry like BNC, so that was one of his side projects. I knew him to go work at Screen Gems, which was like a form was you yeah where some of his former W producers used to work over there. 'Cause I think he did make two cartoons like for screens over there. I think that was pretty much it. And then pretty much after that, he mainly kind of did a lot of like senior animators did at the time, especially even today too, where they tour college campus animation professional as a lecture on the history of animation, and that's what he did kind of rest for his life. And like, because also at that point in time, like if you were the cartoonist, if you were an animator, you really weren't that less well known unless you were really like a director or a cartoonist, that happened to have a comic strip. And in fact, a lot of the other animators I just mentioned, like Scribner, Virgil, Ross, McKimson, a lot of those folks probably didn't really, a lot of folks didn't really know about them until I think much years later. Years later, once people really started appreciating these shorts a lot more, but also they started getting a little more recognition like later in life. I think I was gonna go around in red here. I'm just gonna go around our little sparks here. I don't know if they've made any new releases on. I think they've done a new DVD release for Looney Tunes like not too long ago. I hope they have. That's the other thing now. I think everybody's gotten so used to streaming now. Used to streaming now, like now people are buying DVDs. Oh, I still have a feeling, like the DVDs, if they haven't already, that they'll start making a huge comeback. Is that because like, because even though streaming, it's fine for convenience, like you want. I think it's nice to at least have like a piece of physical media you can actually pick up where it's a little more it's a little more tangible. Because the only thing about I remember the streaming services that like just because it's on there, like it's on there, so it doesn't mean it's gonna be on forever. Because it can happen for a lot of things. Even like the company gets bought out, either certain shows they get dropped. That was kind of the whole issue of HBO Max. Not too long ago where they dumped a lot of their animated original content, and then Velma was the number one series on there. But that's a whole other like story right there. Let me get his little webbed feet. And also, I think in the new movie, I think both Porky and Duck and Daffy are voiced by Eric Bauza. And Eric Bauza, he's kind of like the new it person in kind of the animation scene now because not only is he's a great artist, he's a great voice artist too because he does Daffy, he does Porky. I know. I think in some new he's also does Bugs. He does a number of like a lot of the new like Looney Tunes characters. He does a really good job. I think he does a really good I think between like Bugs and Daffy, I think he has a better Daffy that he does a Bugs because he really captures that manic energy Daffy's that have in a lot of his older cartoons. Because when it comes to like all the different voice actors after Mel Blanc, the original voice actor for Daffy, I think the ones that really come close to really nailing Daffy's pronunciation. Well, there's two really. When it comes to the later like Chuck Jones era on Daffy, where he's more scheming, egocentric, the late Joe Alasky, I think he really nailed him. But when it comes to the Daffy, the very wacky and loony Daffy, Eric Bowles, I think he does a really good job. I think he nails it. And he's had I think Daffy's had a few over the years because of course Joe Lasky, I think that was one. Aside from Eric Bowles, Joe Lasky was fantastic. Eric Bergman, he's really good too. Although with Eric Bergman, I think he does a better job at doing bugs than him. D. Bradley Baker. Now he did him and you know, and very funny, his name doesn't get brought up as much. Daffy. He does a really good job. I think he only did him in Space Jam. I think there was a few others he did, other projects where he actually voiced him there, but he does a pretty good job. I think I'll kind of go on the edges a bit here. All right, that looks good. Let me just kind of go over just a little bit more yellow. But I enjoy, and even going to see the movie, like it was the first time I think last time to go see a movie out in theaters. It was probably like during the summer of like last year. Really, I think my dad and I we went to go see that new at least at the time it was new, the Twisters movie. I think it was called. It was actually called Twisters. So the sequel to that 1996 like Twisters movie. And I found it really enjoyable. I know if I heard it didn't really do all that well, but I found it really enjoyable. Like for starters, for those who haven't really seen it yet, like none of the original cast members from the first one back in '96 are in it, so it's all like new characters. But I feel like it kind of captured that campy vibe the first one like initially had. And also I like that it is one of the few like sequels out there where they're not trying to do so much fan service. Now there's a little bit of like fan service. Of course they got I think they did make a reference to Dorothy. The thing they had in the last movie. They had that, but all of the characters in the for characters like are brand new ones. So of course Bill Paxton. Well, Bill Paxton passed away a couple of years back. Helen Hunt's not in it, which is funny because I feel like they had an opportunity where they could have done it. Because spoiler alert, one of the leading actresses in the movie, she has a mother, and if they wanted to, they could have had Helen Hunt play that role, but they didn't do that. But I actually kind of like they didn't do that because they want to kind of focus on like this new crew. And when you're working with like a new crew for the most part, like I feel sometimes it's kind of best to have like a whole new crew all together. First, having a whole couple like new, have some old actors mixed in because once you get some of the older actors in, then all the attention's gonna be on those older actors, and people are gonna be more focused on them rather than on the newer guys. But yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. I think it was. I'm trying to think. It was that. It was that. It was that. It was on that Planet of the Apes movie. Yeah, because I haven't really gone out to the movies like that often to go see a movie. Because like normally for me, and I always like this even before the pandemic. Is like I'm very selective on what movies I want to go see. Like in theaters. Mainly, well, one because movies are so expensive nowadays, but also because if I decide, is it worth my time like going out to go drive out to go see it versus like waiting for it to be on TV, or streaming. Let's gonna use some purple first to kind of color this guy in. So I'm often very selective and picky about what movies I decide that I want to go see, like in theaters. And the original Twister, while some would say it's not like a great movie, I think it's fine for what it is. It's a nice, campy, like action, like disaster movie. And as someone who's really who was and still is in like all like twisters and tornadoes, that type of stuff. You know, I still like returning to every now and then. I have a great like fondness for it because I remember I used to watch the tape all the time. We used to rent from Blockbuster. I remember when we went to go to Universal Studios down in Orlando, Florida. We went to the Twister ride. It was one of the older rides they used to have. I think like that and Earthquake. Although I hear the Twister ride, I think it's gone now though. It's no longer there anymore. In fact, I hear like a lot of the old rides I used to go to back when it was new are gone now. I think that Twister ride that's gone. Back to the Future ride, which I vividly remember, that's gone. I don't know if Men in Black Alien Attack. I don't know if that's still there. I hope it's still there because I remember that was my personal favorite. I used to love Men in Black Alien Attack. That was like my top favorite. And then of course you know Universal Studios, you had that. Next door was like Nickelodeon Studios. I remember Nickelodeon we went there I think once. I remember going there at least one time. At least that was it, at least in my recollection. Since I don't have any black with this pencil set that I have, it's kind of mixed together with some purple and brown. Yeah, but I used to. In fact, funny enough, when it came to our family vacations, whenever we went down to Orlando, Florida, that was usually kind of like our go-to places. Island Adventure and Universal Studios. One, because we really liked the rides there, but also, far from our knowledge, our parents they always had good timeshare deals on there. But also, we got better like deals like for like I Adventure than we did like say for like Disney World, because Disney World was and still is expensive. So we always prefer going there anyway. Don't only have a gray, so I'm just gonna go over there with some blue and brown, and now I'll probably give us like a nice gray. Yeah, 'cause like I said, I'm going for a pretty limited palette here this time around. Oh, that's strange. Oh, I'm sorry. While I'm drawing, I'm actually kind of looking at more stuff for the original Great Pig Bank Robbery, the short I'm based this on. So it says here on the wiki, when this car airs on Kids WB, review shows, Buzz and Daffy, and the Daffy Duck Show, the scene of Daffy locking Critters of closet and blasting with his Tommy gun, all Critters falling out, represented was cut. Wait, really? They did that? Okay, I sort of understand why, because I guess it's kind of fun because he's using a gun, but it's like that. But that would create such an awkward cut because like he's got because Rose was seen the show. He's surrounded by all these bad guys. He locks them up and then he defeats them that way. But then he finds the piggy banks. But here, like with that edit, that's strange because that just makes it seem like it makes the whole thing seem a lot easier than it was, at least for Daffy. But it's not surprising because I hear like, even when they used to air like Looney Tunes shorts on like major news stations like ABC, like CBS, like they would censor them a lot more than they would do on like say something like Cartoon Network. To the point where it makes sense. In fact, I actually did come across like an interview where Chuck Jones, he actually I think in the '80s where he actually does kind of complain about that, where a lot of like these news stations when they would air thanks, I'm glad you like it. You like it, Shay. When they would air a lot of these old Looney Tunes shorts, they would edit it down to the point where things really wouldn't make sense in context of the short, and that really kind of bothered him and a lot of the other like older directors that were still alive at the time. go. That looks good. Let me get his hat while we're at it since we got this blue here. Glad you guys are liking it so far. It was the first time in a while I've done a more pencil-based one. But also, like, since it's on sketch paper too, because I was looking around to see if I had more mixed medium like sketchbooks on hand, but I don't know, the last one I used up all the pages in that one. And I really don't want to buy a new one just yet, because I want to make sure I've been using all the ones I currently have first, before I go out and start buying, some new ones. Hang on for just one moment. He's kind of go over this a little bit brown, because I know his hat in real short's kind of like more of a grayish color. Here's why I recommend when using colors, always utilize mixing. You can probably get some really good stuff when you actually experiment, see what type of stuff you got. You add a little of that metallic shine. Got some shadows on the edges here. Add them here too. Add them here. Add them here. I'm just kind of going over just a bit more, just kind of bringing back some of these lines, because that is something that will happen, with colored pencils over pen. Sometimes the lines you made will get covered up, so I'm just kind of bringing some of them out and making them pop back, making them pop, so I make them a little bit thicker. In the meantime, things have been going pretty well for me this week. I still have been pretty busy, with work. In fact, I actually got going for work actually later on, like this afternoon. Got to make sure my flash is working. I think I hear about the storms that are coming through here, later on this evening. So I'll make sure I'm prepared and ready for that. Yeah, so let me just really kind of thicken up these outlines. I can go across his tongue again. I'm honestly glad you guys picked Porky. I mean, Daffy, because this is actually the ones I selected. Of all the ones I put in a poll, yes, this is actually the main one I really wanted to do. So I was really glad you guys picked that one. I think I'll go over Daffy's fur a little bit more to kind of give like a darker color. Let me go over that. Let me just kind of go over him. There go his feathers down here too. I'm sorry it's taking a minute. I'm sorry if I sounded kind of drowsy about the stream because I did just kind of wake up like not too long ago. Cause no joke, like I think I literally woke up probably about a good 20 minutes before the stream start. I started the stream, and it was weird because I had set my alarm to get up like earlier for this, to get up around like 8 earlier this morning, so I could have time to get everything set up. But for some reason, it did not go off. I mean, same thing happened yesterday too. I'm not sure why. I don't know if the volume's working or what. So that's two things where the volume's. I didn't have the volume working properly on my phone. Because that's my alarm and this computer for this. So that's strange. So I have to see what's going on, with that. I did think about just using like a regular like bulk, my regular like ink pens for this, but I feel I kind of want to keep this thing pretty rough and loose because I want to get that energetic energy a lot of like Clampett cartoons had. Alright, so let me kind of go around the edges here a little bit more for this red. I am going to use a different color for the rest of the background too, but I kind of want to really kind of make the area around the blast a little more impactful. Probably have to add some blue over some of this later on. I think a few other things happened while I was at the theater. I think after that, while I was there, I went and got myself one of the drinks. Our movie theater, at least the one I go, they actually have a bar there too. So I went and got something to drink there too. I got kind of buzzed from that while I was watching the movie. And then on top of that, I am getting roped in like in comedy conspiracy theory somehow. I think I went over a couple minutes. Luckily, I didn't go too long because normally I wouldn't give these folks the kind of time of day. I just find the folks like the worst people to actually have conversations with. But that's a whole other story. get my pencil sharpener. Give me just one moment. Where's my portable pencil sharpener? Yeah, because the big one that I normally use, it's not working right now, so I don't. That's why I'm using the regular old one. I know, I just had it a few moments ago. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Now we're back in business. Go across him. I'm obviously kind of debating if I even want to go out and actually see it again while it's still in theaters. Because I have no one, because because I enjoyed it that much, but also I have no idea like what streaming service is gonna be on like once it reaches streaming services. So I don't know if it's gonna be on HBO Max. Is it gonna be on Hulu? And I don't even know if it's gonna be on DVD, which I hope they're gonna give it like at least a DVD release. Especially considering like it's this is kind of a big thing as is. I also hope that the film does well because even if it does well, I'm happy that it got made. I'm happy that I got a chance to go see it. Because it's definitely made with a lot. Was a movie that was made with a lot of love. And I wish I could tell you more about what happens in the movie, but it's just I really don't want to spoil it. I really don't want to spoil it for those of you who haven't seen it yet. I'll go with some blue. Let me see how that looks. Let me see how it looks with. Yeah, perfect. Okay, that blue's a lot better. Perfect. I was gonna try with the light blue I had on hand, but I figured this dark blue would work a little bit better. And you guys know me, like as much, since I love drawing like Looney Tunes and Disney, all that type of stuff, like this was just something, I feel like I had to see. really glad that I did. Just kind of going along the edges, just kind of blending in that olive green, with this dark blue. Oh, that's coming along very nicely. And I think once I'm done, like coloring this in, I am gonna kind of show you some of the other stuff I've been kind of working on offensive lately. It hadn't been much, but at least it's been a few stuff. And I don't have much planned today, aside from just going to work. Also, I've been kind of, funny enough, I've actually, between all the top of cartoons, I've really gotten to kind of watching like 80s anime on like Pluto TV. So like I just finished up City Hunter like part 2. Also like 80s. I just finished watching that. But I got started on a newer one. No, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Not a new one. Another old one from that Giant Gore. I guess like a mecha anime from the 80s. And funny enough, this is the first time I've actually sat down and really watched like a mecha anime. Even though I know like it's kind of a big like popular genre. I mean, subgenre in anime. And so far, I've been really enjoying it so far. It's very action packed. But then I found myself really liking a lot of like 80s anime aside from City Hunter. I liked Lupin. Well, Lupin the Third's more really more 70s. But I've been really watching their Part 3 series, which came out in the 80s. Because I love that. Another 80s anime I really do like is of course Akira. I like that. And another like 80s anime space. I think it's called I think Space Adventure Cobra. That's another one. In fact, that one you can actually find you can find here on YouTube. That one's pretty fun. Funny, Space Adventure Cobra. Part of the reason I like that is that the intro. It's actually I think the theme song was actually directed by Yuno Ono, who is more well known for doing a theme song for Lupin the Third, for conducting that song. Yeah, now it's just kind of a matter of kind of like really kind of evening out these colors, making sure everything seems a lot less patchy. So at this point, I'm just kind of going all the way around, just coloring everything in, and really fine tuning our background here. Alright, let me go across. Let me kind of go in just a little bit more on this side. Alright, let's go back in with our green. Kind of blend out some of these edges. So let me see. And aside from work, I had a few other things kind of planned too. I was gonna try to run a couple of errands, but I really wanted to do this for because I initially considered on doing this last night. Because I was thinking of, cause I almost considered doing an extreme right if I got back from the movies. But one, I had a feeling I'd end up getting back home pretty late, and I knew that once I got home, I would be kind of tired. And I didn't want to do another stream, where I was too tired that I couldn't really stay awake. I didn't want to do another one of those like I did a few weeks back. I wanted to make sure I was actually alert so I could stream for you guys. So I didn't want to make sure I did that again. So I figured I might as well just wait till today. And I wasn't initially planning on doing this though, but I might add some yellow here too. Just to kind of make the image pop a bit more. And also kind of like blend everything together. If I wasn't planning on actually spending this much time on the background, but that's kind of what happened. Like sometimes once you hit upon something, you find yourself working on it, and it's taking a lot of time than you expected. That's how it is. Sometimes you gotta just go with it, and just go with it if it seems right. I've lost count of the number of times like where I think I'm almost done with drawing, but then you step away for a few minutes. In fact, that's something I do recommend that some of you guys do, like whenever you're working on drawings. That like sometimes if you think you're almost done, just step away for step away for a little, maybe a couple of minutes, maybe a couple of hours, maybe even a couple of days, then come back to it. And we come back to you with fresh eyes and pretend like you didn't draw it. Suddenly, like all the things that pop out you that you feel like needs to be fixing, or things that you do that you feel like you can do better, or improve upon something that you think is already good. Suddenly, it seems a lot more obvious now because you took the time to kind of distance yourself from it. Okay, go back in with some of this red again. Let me just kind of go on the edges here. We blend this out. Why not? I think I was at. Don't really have to do that, but I figured maybe just putting a little bit of shading around his hand with some red will help. Alright, give me just one moment to look at something for a moment. Yeah, just kind of really kind of bring out this red just a bit more. Okay, now I think what I'm going to do now is actually go back over this with some of this yellow. Kind of blend everything out. Normally I probably would use white for this, but I figured this will be probably a much better option. Plus, I figured this will kind of make the green just a little bit more vibrant. I didn't want to dilute the color either. Plus, I figure it'll kind of help kind of give it kind of this old, kind of like an older, like vintage look. Yeah, so I'm just kind of light, kind of go around the edges, kind of blending everything out. Let me see something. Maybe I should go around here. I'll be honest, it does get kind of relaxing after a while when it's coloring like large swaths of color like this. Because now it's a matter of kind of like coloring things in, smoothing everything out. You know, to where it looks, like, where it looks something different. Let's go around the edges here. Yeah, we'll be almost done with this pretty soon. I know it took a little long. Well, just about as long as they normally take. I usually try to make sure I get these done within about a half, like an hour and a half, at the most. I know one of these days I am thinking about doing another like long stream that goes on about maybe like 2 or 3 hours. I have thought about doing like another one like that, but something like that I have to kind of do like on my off days if I know I'm gonna be off and I have to go anywhere the next day afterwards. Because I know I did that once with I did that Animaniacs where that's one where I had them cosplay as Scooby Doo characters. That one was like a 3 hour thing. I think that was the longest one I think I've done today, where that one was like 3 hours. And then there was another one which is about 2.5 hours. That's when I did the punk jazz one where I did that jazz group. That was about two and a half hours, and that was more of like a silent stream. what I will do, even though I wasn't planning on doing it. I think I'll use this light blue to kind of blend out the edges of our blue, the edges of our dark blue here. All right. All right, guys. I actually believe that is it for this one right here. So we got our classic, like Daffy for the piggy bank robbery, defeating the villains, 1940s like Tommy gun, like gangster style. So guys, I hope you all really enjoy watching me work on this one. So before I go, let me show you some of the other stuff, that I have been working on. Give me just one moment. Let me see if I can adjust the lighting a bit more. In fact, let me do little touch-ups here and there. Forgot I got the tail right here. There we go. So before I go, this is just some of the other stuff, I've been kind of up to, as of lately. Here's something kind of a silly one I did for Pi Day yesterday. I did one of my OCs that's comedian. And, and that's kind of his thing, where he kind of like to heckle people, very slapstick way. This is something I did early on Monday. So apparently Monday was Mario Day. This is another one that I did. That was a lot of fun to do. I kind of based this one off Cosperry's Cosperry. He's like an artist who's known for doing a lot of like Mario and Friday Night Face stuff. Kind of style similar like Don Bluth's like old films. Just some rough sketches. Here's just some like crossover stuff I did, but like Animaniacs and Simpsons stuffs here. And that was based on a fanfic idea I never got around to actually like doing anything with. Aside from those VHS screenshots. Then here's just some more, like pen drawings, that I've done. Some random ones here and there. Here's a more realistic one I did, of Ralph, Ralph the Guard. Just some more rough stuff here and there. And yeah, like that's pretty much it for, right now. So, guys, I hope you all really enjoyed the stream today. So, I plan to stream again around same time next week. Hopefully, if I get a chance, I'll probably get a chance to stream on Friday as well. Because I try to go for a twofer where I'll do one on a Friday and Saturday. So, guys, hope you guys had a great weekend. Continue to have a great week. Thank you so much. Have a great day.